Hello.
Hey, we are starting a cult that's great. I'm Jake. Mitch is here this time.
Oh,
The first time in a while.
yeah, it's true. He's back.
It's true. He's back.
We're back. Better than ever. It's been a long week, but it's finally Friday and time for the show.
It's true. Mitch was very concerned about maybe me not saying bananas, but I would never forget that.
Oh, we couldn't. It's
For you, for all of you guys.
It's a staple of the show at this point.
Bananas is everything to us.
It really is. I want to start this episode off by giving a huge shout out to Wham City Comedy, okay?
They're beautiful people.
They are a sketch comedy group. They have some videos on the YouTube. I'll be honest with you, I was very unfamiliar with who they are and what they did. But I'm giving them a shout out because this is a weird, long, personal story.
Yeah,
so
we are very aware of one specific thing they did.
Yeah, so this is how I stumbled upon them. So there is a show called Off the Air on Adult Swim.
Oh, it's great.
And it's just a combination of weird videos and like trippy visuals with music. And it's pretty much meant for people to be on drugs or really fucked up and watch it.
Yeah.
But there's one specific thing. There's an episode called Technology, and there's a skit that was done by Wham City Comedy. And in that skit, it's kind of a parody of like the introduction of new technologies from like the 90s.
But they're just screaming technology over and over again.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's really good. It's called AB95. That's the name of the skit, so you can look it up. It's real fucking funny.
AB95 Development Team!
It's really good, but the story is this. In that skit, there is a song that plays, and I am not going to lie to you. I have exhausted every option that I know of. I searched for years, at least 2 full years of my life.
No, that's been our true calling. Some people it's Bigfoot. Us, it's this song.
Yeah, it's this song, and I wanted to find it. So I started very rudimentary. I was just on YouTube, looking through to see if anybody said anything. No, nobody said anything. So I'm like, okay, let's take this somewhere else. I went on Reddit and 4chan. I've gone to weird sectional subreddits that are like shoot-offs of Off the Air specifically.
We also took the basic steps of checking Spotify.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah. We
just
did
so you know.
Just Google searches, Yahoo searches, DuckDuckGo searches, everything you can think of. It does not exist. Until the other day, I got a weird spark of interest again. So I listened to it, and then I looked up that skit specifically, not the full episode of Off the Air, just the AB95 skit. And I noticed that in the comments of the YouTube video, there were about 5 people that were all asking the same question. They're like, what the fuck is this song? I want to know. No answer. Nobody replied. Those are like 2-year-old comments. Like nobody got back to them. So I decided to just take the initiative, and I was like, I'm gonna look further into this. So I look up Wham City Comedy. Turns out they have an email that's pretty easy to find. It's pretty accessible, you know? So I take a shot in the dark. I'm like, it was like 9 a.m., somewhere around there. I was like, guys, here's the deal. I don't really know you guys, but you have this song in this skit, and I love it, and I want to know what it is. Within an hour, they got back to me, and they sent me the file, and I have the song right now. I have it with me.
It's a big win for us.
It was a glamorous day. It was the best thing I could have ever heard of in my life. But we have it now.
Yeah. It's called Sky High Baby by
Jeff Graham. It is not available on the internet or YouTube or anywhere. I don't know this specifically, but I think it was a song that was probably written for the skit or just by someone in the skit, and they're like, let's just use it.
It's the greatest song I've ever heard.
At the moment, I have no authority to do anything with it, but I'm going to reach out to them again and see if it might be acceptable for us to play it.
Because we just think more people need to hear that.
Yeah.
And we have a platform. We're going to use it for good. You're all going to hear the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we're going to try to make that happen.
I'm going to reach out to them and see if that's acceptable. I want to get confirmation that that's okay to do before I actually do it, Yeah. But
hopefully it's for free. If they have us pay them, there's a Patreon link below.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen. But.
Yeah, we don't know what to expect, but It's worth a shot. The worst they could say is, "No, we'd rather you not do that." And it's like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's been a big week. It really has.
But yeah, so huge shout out to Wham City Comedy for not only being responsive, but for providing us with my absolute favorite song that's ever existed in the world.
So gracious of you. Thank you.
Now that that's out of the way, we can crack into the episode.
Yeah, we are doing another true crime.
The Burger King Killer.
The Burger King Killer with a T in there. He's Dennis Rader. He's BTK.
Dennis Rader. I'm excited. I'm very excited. You know what's funny to me?
Dude, it's always so long between our true crime, like serial killer boys.
It is.
We always wait like months.
We've got the new list, and I don't think it's going to be as long between this and another true crime. It won't be back to back, obviously, but the gap will be a little bit smaller.
Yeah, because we've been doing this like 3 years. We've done like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
you know, like we need to make it more frequent.
Yeah, no, I
that's
definitely
what you guys
agree.
want. I mean, yeah,
I definitely agree. I think, believe it or not, we actually got some really good responses about the episode last week about Alcor Life Extension.
Yeah, and did you guys see the post? Grant got an email back.
Yeah, they only want me to pay
do it.
insane amounts of money, and I need witnesses that aren't my family that
I'll
are
be
willing
witness.
to sign. I will not be doing it because I think they're a bunch of fucking quacks that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No, you think so?
But there was a really just random episode sort of that just kind of happened because it did.
Now you're going to be frozen.
And yeah, I'm glad that it did because we had some fans that really liked it. So we got some stuff coming on down the pipeline. We did get a request for some more culty episodes.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this now, you person on YouTube,
yes,
we got you.
Thank you. We love you. You're our new big fan. We are forever grateful for you.
But yeah, we got this new list for the year though.
Oh yeah,
it's just chock full of these killers.
Yeah, there's some good ones on there. And see what's funny, I'm glad we're doing BTK now because it's funny because I got interested in true crime at a far too young age.
You're never too young.
I was about 8 years old when I really started getting into it.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I always get what's Dennis Rader and Gary Ridgway confused.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. It was at the Green River.
Yeah, and see what's funny is that when I was first interested in this, the whole identity of Gary Ridgway was not confirmed yet. Like it was still not necessarily ongoing, but I mean I was just young. I didn't really know what I was looking at. But I remember reading about the Green River killer, and they didn't have an identity for him. He was still not someone they knew.
Well, dude, it took until the fucking White Sox won the World Series for Dennis Rader to be caught.
And yeah, exactly. That's why I brought that up, because it's this is quite interesting, because this guy, if you want to get technical, there's no such thing as a successful serial killer. That we know of. We can't. The only way to be successful is for us to not know who they are. They got away with it.
What about Zodiac Boy? What about Jack the Ripster?
Yeah, you know what? Fuck those guys. They're a bunch of amateurs that are lame.
You're just mad you didn't find them out.
No, they use guns, dude. Guns. Well, Jack the Ripper
did not use a gun.
Obviously, he didn't.
He was very surgical about it.
It's a lot easier to get away with murder in the fucking 1800s. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just true. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, you're not wrong, no.
But
not at all, no.
But Dennis Rader, if you're going to make a scale of extremely successful serial killers, he's probably near the top.
He was fucking wild. He was begging for attention. He basically turned himself. We'll get into all this stuff.
And it spanned a long time.
He loved the attention, and it was so many years.
Yes, he did. Now, this will... I don't even think we talked about this. I'm assuming this is going to go more than one episode, clearly. There's
no, it definitely is. I did not do notes for the entire story.
I watched multiple documentaries yesterday and today. Well, I watched part of one today, I guess, last night at 3 a.m.
I was with you all day. So I know you didn't do that.
But I fell asleep watching one, and it was kind of depressing.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
I woke up 20 minutes later, and it was still playing. I was like,
I finished this script at 4 a.m.
How fun. We were both doing this shit at 3 a.m.
So, all right, let's just get into it. Because this guy was fucking insane.
Yeah, no, so strap in, get ready. Here comes fucking Dennis.
10 minutes in, let's do it.
Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, so Dennis Rader. He was otherwise known as BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, Kill.
Buffalo Tender Kitchen.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Buffalo Tender Kitchen. Right. How can we serve you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was an American serial killer who committed 10 murders in 17 years in his hometown of Wichita, as well as Park City, Kansas. His case is one of the more frightening ones that we've covered, largely due to the fact that he was free for so long, like we were talking about. It took him damn near into the 2000s.
Yeah.
All right? But we'll talk about that later on. Well, he was a sexual sadist. A sociopath who taunted the police with anonymous letters detailing every gruesome detail of his strangulation or suffocation of his victims. So how did the man become so arrogant and horny?
He just wanted to be caught. He's like, someone please catch me.
Well, we're going to start right at the beginning.
I want to be plowed in prison. And they just could not get him fast enough.
Not even fast enough. So his full name was Dennis Lynn Rader. Lynn Rader.
Ha. Lame. Stupid name.
They'd have like a good joke. We're just like, it sucks. What an idiot. It's just because he killed people. It's like Lynn, whatever.
Yeah, but he was like just like a regular guy. I'd be like, oh, all right, Lynn, sure, why not?
Yeah, Dennis Lynn Rader. He was born on March 9th of 1945, right at the end of the old war there. To William Elvin Rader and Dorothea May Rader, and he was raised in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
He was the oldest of 4 children, his younger brothers being Paul, Bill, and Jeff. And he grew up in a rather cold house when it came to parental affection.
That's super unlike any of the other serial killers
like
out there.
None out there.
They all typically come from just extremely healthy and happy homes with no issues.
That's true. Well, both his mom and his dad, they worked long hours. So it wasn't even necessarily like, oh, this sucks. Like,
he's a
my life is
kid.
so bad. It's like, he's just home a lot alone. Maybe probably taking care of his siblings. That sucks. But still, yeah, both his parents worked very long hours and had little time to actually parent the children.
Right? I would assume he discovered masturbation at an age far too young to be masturbating.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Like, I'm talking like 5 years old, this kid was pulling the pud like it was fucking nuts. He doesn't even know what he's doing yet.
May have been, and, he's very confused, specifically about his mother, because, both his parents weren't there, but he recalls in later interviews harboring a specific resentment for his mom.
Okay.
Because of, the situation. Starting from a very young age, surprise, surprise, he exhibited one of the 3 behaviors known as the Mcdonald Triad.
He ate chicken nuggets, McDoubles, and he always had a sweet tea.
Yeah, the ice cream machine was never working.
He fell right into the McDonald's trap. It's exactly what they wanted of him.
It's true. But this one's spelled with an A. McDonald's.
What?
Mac.
You can't...
It's the triad. So apparently the triad of thing, it's like... Apparently the McDonald Triad is like 3 specific early indicators of like later trouble with crime like in the person's life.
Isn't that not, I mean, I could be wrong. That could be the other thing. Is it? It's like bedwetting, animal mutilation, and something else.
And, obsessive fire starting.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, the other 2 are right. Yeah, he's cruelty to animals, obsessive fire starting, and bedwetting past a certain age.
I was gonna say it was like
certain age,
bedwetting. It happens, when you're like a youngin, like a real youngin. But if you're like 5 years old pissing in the bed, it's like, dude, you gotta something ain't right here. We gotta figure this out.
He wasn't a bed pisser or a fire starter, but he did exhibit zoosadism as a child. In other words,
a fun word.
It's really fun. It reminds me of Zootopia. What a fun movie.
Zootopia. Everybody's so happy in that movie.
And then Dennis Rader shows up as a child.
He just starts hitting at zebras with baseball bats.
Using zebras as baseball bats.
And he's just like fucking jamming shit in their assholes and just like, I'm going to eat your ears, bitch.
Yep. Yeah, he tortured a lot of small animals as a child. That was pretty much his childhood. He was also extremely sexually driven in his youth. You were right.
No, I knew it.
All right.
Makes sense. Latchkey kids love sex.
Yeah. He it wasn't just regular stuff though that you find out as a kid.
This guy started on weird fucking octopus and asshole
Dude,
porn.
he discovered early on that he very much enjoyed autoerotic asphyxiation voyeurism as well as cross-dressing.
Okay, wait.
Very young.
What's voyeurism?
That's where you watch people through their windows and they're undressing and you're
Oh, we were
masturbating.
just talking about that, like from Little Nicky,
Yeah.
from John Lovitz.
He just likes to watch.
Okay. I mean,
He's just a peeper.
he's just a peeper. But in this instance, it is sexual. It's like, yeah, bitch. Yeah, you fucking put on that lotion, you whore. It's like, she just took a huge dump or something and is like trying to go to bed, you know?
Yeah.
This guy's making it weird. But I will say, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm no expert in the field of sexual psychology.
What?
I cannot imagine that autoerotic asphyxiation is a good first step. Because if that's your like early step, that is not going to be good for the future.
Well, I mean, come on.
I feel like that's
Just
something.
be careful.
That takes a lot of building up to get to. How do you even find out about that? You know what I mean?
Listen to this. He discovered all that stuff early on, like autoerotic asphyxiation, voyeurism, and cross-dressing. More often than not, all three of those things would take place at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just outside of his neighbor's windows dressed as a lady, choking himself, whacking it. That was his childhood, aside from, the animal torture.
You know, the image of that is quite hilarious. Picture, if you will.
You're picturing a young boy doing that?
I'm bringing up my
Don't
inner Rod Sterling here. Picture, if you will.
Picture this.
A cross-dressing teenager choking himself, masturbating outside of your window. Just picture that and tell me that's not fucking hilarious. Like, who do you know what I mean? Like, at that point, it's like, who do you call, the cops or your buddy? And be like, you're not going to believe this shit.
It was
this
often
kid.
It was in stolen panties, too. Like, he would steal women's underwear to wear it.
Obviously.
And then do it, yeah.
You know, you got to know they're real. If you buy new
I
panties,
guess that kind of makes sense. It's like, I'm 8. Can I buy this? And they're going to be like, no.
I didn't know.
Whoever you're buying this for is irresponsible.
Call me underdeveloped.
What do you know? It's him. So
I did not know what masturbation was when I was 8, let alone fucking choking myself when I come.
Yeah. I mean, I just said 8 as a random thing. Like, I didn't find any specific ages, but it says early on, so I'm assuming, pretty early on.
Maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but I feel like cross-dressing at a young age, like, there's obviously limits, but, like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I put on, like, girl clothes just, like, when I was, like, 4. I was like, this is funny. Like, with my cousin or something, just like, I look funny.
You're like, hey, I'm a lady.
Yeah, like, you're like a kid.
Yeah,
like,
that's the extent of it.
There's nothing, like...
Sometimes.
There's nothing, like, developmentally strange about that or different.
No, you're like, hey, look, I'm mom.
Yeah.
Look at me.
You're being a kid,
I'm mom now.
That's kid shit, Like, for lack of a better term, that's kid shit.
Yeah, that whole statement is just tainted now because of the documentary it's in, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was
it's just
that?
kid shit.
It's
Richard,
just kid shit, Bill. It's
Bill?
just kid
Yeah.
shit.
Just jerk me off.
That was the Abducted in Plain Sight. If you watch that statement of it's kid shit will take on a whole new meaning for you.
Kid shit. Yeah,
But it is.
I think it's really funny that he was binding himself with ropes also around his arms and neck while he was doing this.
Yeah, that's fucking like expert level shit right there. That's like
He
crazy.
must have been great in the Boy Scouts.
Like, I mean,
All these knots.
like, let's be realistic here. Even people that are into that shit nowadays, that, are into, like, binding and all that stuff, and they do that to themselves,
Like BDSM.
it takes a lot of practice and time to, like, get to that level, to do that to yourself. He's a fucking kid.
Yeah, he's a child. He's real good at it. He's a savant of sorts.
Sexual savant.
In the field, yeah.
This dude's the fucking Einstein of boners. Like, he is just on top of his shit.
I think Einstein was the Einstein of boners. That guy was a hound dog.
Yeah, you guys remember?
Yeah, I heard his fucking reputation.
All I know is that Einstein, like, I was reading this thing. Apparently there's a whole book about it, but I haven't read the book. I just was reading a thing. No, apparently his wife was actually, like, equally as smart, if not smarter than him.
Ah.
And the whole, like, theory of relativity was actually, like, developed by her.
Well, it was proven wrong anyway, so I think we can all move on as a society, right?
Yeah, so just so you guys know out there, Einstein was kind of a fucking asshole, and he wasn't that smart.
Oh, no. Someone in history sucked, sort of?
No way.
That never happens.
No way.
Oh, God. Well, Rader has recently been quoted, because he's still alive, in saying that it's amazing no one saw there was something wrong with him.
Yeah, I agree with him.
But, his parents were never home. He was just outside whacking it to the neighbors. Parents weren't there. That's all you need.
I 100% agree with him. I think it's crazy. Like, I understand, the parents are busy and life kind of gets in the way and shit, but, like, there's a difference, Like, that is insanity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, he was the oldest, and he did probably have to take care of his, like, his siblings. So he probably knew how to act from, like, an early age, like, how, like, around people.
Yeah,
so
that's
as to not arouse any, like any suspicion or like, there's no weirdness about this. I mean, despite the intensity of his sexual fetishes, early on, he somehow managed to maintain a reputation in the community as a normal, polite, and well-mannered dude. That's like what he was to the society.
I think that's
here in Wichita.
I think that's a very reasonable assumption. I think that's good. It makes sense because it's like, a lot of serial killers share that instinct of, like, they know how to turn it on and off.
Yeah, and he, like, kind of had to. He was thrown into the situation where he was like, well, I kind of have to know how to fend for myself.
Yeah, he had to learn, and he fucking learned.
He
Dude choked himself while he came.
Yeah, just some interesting proclivities sexually.
I mean...
Sexually.
If you leave it at that, it's completely fine. But when you start getting weird,
as long as,
it's not cool.
Chill. Oh, well, he eventually attended. This is after, all this crazy sex antics and the animals, they're dead. He eventually attended Kansas Wesleyan University for 1 year, where he got extremely average grades.
Extremely
average. So, like, C minuses across the board. And he dropped out after 1 year.
Oh, right. That sucks.
Yeah. One of the only things people tended to do back at this time when they were they weren't cut out for college, was join the military, much like today. A lot of people do that. And so he just did that.
Well, why not?
Right? Yeah, I mean, he served in the U.S. Air Force from 66 to 70.
That does not give them...
1900s time.
Does not give them a good reputation.
Probably not, yeah. They also gave him a couple of medals. He received a few medals and titles, actually.
Master Stroker.
That probably could have been one.
Sexiest woman in our platoon.
He probably brought his clothes, his stolen panties.
He was like J. Edgar Hoover, He was the J. Hoover of fucking the Air Force.
There you go.
Everybody knows he was a cross-dresser, too. Don't act like you don't know that. He was.
Yeah. And if you didn't, you know now. But the Air Force, he got a bunch of medals and titles. The Air Force Good Conduct Medal. So he was a good little boy.
All right.
Small Arms Expert Marksmanship Ribbon.
Small Arms.
Small Arms. National Defense Service Medal. And he was also a Staff Sergeant.
A lot of sex-related
puns. It sounds important.
Puns.
I don't necessarily know. Yeah, Staff Sergeant. I like that. But it doesn't. I don't know how high that is or low in the ranking.
It sounds good, so it's probably not great.
But I feel like they don't make things that sound really bad.
That's what I'm saying.
As like titles.
Even when you're like,
maybe we should have looked it up.
Private first class. It's like, well, it sounds really important, but
first
it's
class,
like not.
Hot towel, free stuff.
They're not going to call you private 8th class. Nobody fucking cares about those guys.
No one gives a fuck about that.
And I only want first class or better. There is nothing better, sir.
I want to fly the plane. Let me fly the plane.
I want to sit on the pilot's lap and blow him while I fly to Orlando.
Does the pilot have any of those little pins he gives out to kids? I want all of them.
I want one of those, too, and they never gave me one, so they're like, hey, fatty, shut up.
Really?
No, but
Dang.
I never asked.
You never asked, you fucking son of a bitch.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I learned about that from cartoons, but I rarely fly. In any case, so he did pretty well in the military, right? A Raider, that is. But upon his discharge from the armed forces in 1970, he moved right back to Kansas in a suburb outside of his hometown of Wichita, known as Park City. So he's right back. Back to the scene of everything that he had done before. He then got a job in the meat department of a Leaker's IGA's supermarket with the help of his mother, who was a bookkeeper there. So his mom's kind of helping him out, All
right.
So
he's got a little bit of support here.
Yeah,
Nothing
just
crazy.
A tad bit.
But it's there.
Yeah. All right. So This was also where, working this job, he theoretically fell in love. So he met Paula Dietz.
Nice.
It's like diets, but spelled with a Z.
Diets.
Diets. I think it's Dietz. It wasn't her last name for long. Because, they met while he was working the job, and they went on to marry.
Aww.
On May 22nd of 1971. It was very fast.
That was. Good for them.
Moves very fast. The two had 2 children together, Carrie and Brian.
What do you think the sex was like?
Scary.
I'm thinking it was just plain
probably,
old missionary.
Really? You think he did that, and then he was like, oh, yeah, I totally came, and then went into the bathroom, got some rope in there.
Yeah, choked himself out.
Something like that.
Put on like a Donald Duck mask and looked in the mirror with his pubes parted and see the seam on his nuts. He just tickled that while he was choking.
The only inaccurate part of that is the duck mask, because it was a different kind of mask, but we'll get to that.
Fair enough.
In the second episode.
Fair enough.
For right now, he met Paula, they got married, and they had 2 kids named Carrie and Brian.
Hey, Paula.
There we go. And at the same time, Rader attended Butler County Community College in El Dorado.
Butt liquor.
so many easy jokes that no one should really make.
They're perfect.
Because they're not very good.
You know what? They're only
I'm glad you're making them.
They're only as bad as the audience that laughs.
You're a martyr to the laughs we might be getting.
I don't get it.
And I love it.
I'll say anything that you guys want me to say, and I'll just say it out loud. Just tell me what you want.
Just email startacult@gmail.com. He went to Rader. He went to Butler County Community College in El Dorado, and he earned an associate's degree in electronics in 1973. Electronic. After which he attended Wichita State University. This guy's going to so much school. Graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree, majoring in Administration of Justice in 1979.
Damn.
All right, so he was going to so much school. Sorry, I'm drinking a grape soda, so I'm burping a lot.
It's grape? I thought it was orange Fanta.
You're totally right.
It was like, what the fuck is this guy smoking? This shit's orange.
I don't know, man. I can't see it directly, so I just said the first thing I thought of.
You got grape
but
on
you
the
know
mind.
what? You know what? That was in 1979, and he graduated from Wichita State University. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? Because Rader's first murders took place in 1974.
What?
So early on in his college career.
Fair enough.
And guess who it was?
No.
An entire family.
Oh, my next guess.
He fucking killed an entire family.
I said no,
It's
but that was my
insane.
next guess. An entire family.
Yeah. The Otero family, actually.
He ate the whole thing.
Was it Homer Simpson's yearbook quote?
Indeed it was.
I can't believe I ate the whole thing.
He did it. And Dennis Rader followed.
Rader did the same sort of thing, yeah. So, while Rader was in the midst of his schooling at Wichita State University, he was working to support his family as an assembler at the Coleman Company. As you know, it's the well-known camping gear.
Yeah, the Gary Coleman
outdoor
Foundation.
company. Yeah, that too. What you talking about? Willis.
What you talking about, Dennis?
Yeah. There you go. It was during this time, while working alongside an enormous staff, that he came across Julie Otero. Ooh. All right. So, thousands of people working here. He sees her and he's like, yes, that one.
You know, in the way that you're telling it, it seems like it was very, divine. Like, he, searched and it was just like...
It really wasn't. It was just random and frightening.
No, I have a feeling it was literally like he went into the office or the building or whatever, like, and she was the first person he saw, and he's like, you're going to get it, bitch.
He's like, that's the one. That's the one.
Like, there's no poeticism to it. It was just like, that's it. You're done, bitch. You're done.
He may have thought that there was some sort of poeticism to it. The guy was a sociopath. He thought he was better than everybody.
Well, yeah.
But, and he was 29 years old at this time. And, he'd been fantasizing about doing something like this the entire time.
For
his entire
years.
life. Yeah, since he could form a thought. He was like, I'm going to kill Julie Otero and her family when I'm 29, working at the Coleman supply company.
It's the typical like 9/11 scenario. It's like, what if they would have just called off work that day? You know?
Yeah,
Just
this guy
what
like
if?
Seth MacFarlane missing his flight, you know?
Mm.
Remember that story? Isn't that crazy? Well, all right. So now, Rader had been fantasizing about killing for 29 years, you know, his entire life. He, later on in life, went on to say that when he saw Julie, he knew she was the one, and her family as well, as we'll see. So he began following Julie, you know, for an extended period of time, finding out where she lived, her routine, her family, and their habits and schedules. And he would often call them projects. These like he would like case the victim and like follow him and do all this research. He called them projects.
My little side project.
Little project.
I'm busy after work. I have to go stalk, rape, and murder somebody.
I have to go attend to my projects.
Sorry about that. I got jizz all over your front door. Let me kill you instead.
Oh, we'll get to the jizz.
Oh yeah, there's lots of that.
Rader eventually figured out the times that would be most opportunistic for him to swoop in, okay? Rader one day, once he'd, you know, learned the family schedule, went up to Josephine Otero, who was a 9-year-old child.
Okay.
All right? Showing her a picture of a random individual asking if she'd seen the person in the neighborhood. Right?
All right.
Pretty weird, but still, it's okay so far. The child answered, no. And Rader thanked her and proceeded to leave. He just left. He was like,
that
yeah.
was it? That was the end of the... That's the end of the series?
Yeah, it's gone. No, so he proceeded to leave. It was then on January 15th, in the middle of the day, after he had established a sort of trust in the little girl, you know, that he came to the Otero home again, asking the same question of the same photograph to Josephine, again, at their door. And she answered again. She was like, no, I have no idea who this fucking is. She didn't say it like that because she's 9. But she was like, maybe my mom knows. And then she let him into the house.
Bad mistake.
It's not good. Yeah, she granted Rader access to the house, at which point he pulled out a gun in the presence of Julie, the mother.
I got a gun, bitch.
Like, what do you think about this? And he began explaining that he had a sexual problem and that he was not there to rob them.
That's worse.
Now, that's so frightening.
That's the worst possible news.
It's like the scariest thing someone could come into your house and say to you.
I don't want to rob you. I just have a horrible sexual problem.
Like, see this gun? I have some sex problems, and I'm not robbing you. It's like, oh, God.
All right.
Oh, no.
I guess this is happening, huh?
So, yeah, I bet Julie felt like that. Like, oh, God, oh, no. And then, you know what he did then? He started tying up Julie, which caused the kids to freak out. You know, rightfully.
Fair enough, you know.
Yeah. I mean, but what he didn't anticipate was the father of the family, Joseph, being home.
Oh.
He was there. He was in the back of the house. And in the midst of tying up Julie, Joseph came in, and he and Rader got into a bit of a struggle. All right?
A little bit.
They're fighting.
That's one way to put it.
You can't tie up my wife.
It was a straight up fucking brawl to the death, pretty much.
Yeah. A struggle. And Rader overpowered Joseph, okay? Kind of sucks that that's how it went down, but Rader overpowered Joseph, then tying him up alongside Julie, who he then proceeded to suffocate using a pillowcase under a plastic bag that was tightened around her neck with a cord.
Ouch. Just ouch. What other way do you describe that? Just, I don't know. That's fucked
probably
up.
The most disrespectful way to like describe like the story of BTK. It's like, ouchie.
Pretty much.
It's like if you could sum it up into one word. It's like, oh. That's it. Just
Goodness
gracious me.
This poor woman. Yeah, I mean, There's definitely better ways to go than that, but that's fucked up.
Yeah,
That's an owie for sure.
Yeah, he would simply sit back and watch as she slowly suffocated and died.
And he probably started dribbling little bits of fucking baby out and just like, oh, one of those, you know?
One of those, maybe maybe in a little bit.
He's a fucking monster, you know?
Maybe in a little bit. So yeah, he then proceeded to do the same with Joseph and Joseph Jr., and it was during these actions that he learned just how fucking hard it is to suffocate people, because he thought they would be dead, but they were just unconscious, so they'd keep waking back up.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I killed him." They're walking around again, like he fucked up a bunch of times, and he just kept suffocating them until they were eventually dead.
This is a great PSA, and I in no way recommend or hope that you do any of this.
It's real hard to kill people.
But suffocation is, like in movies and shit, when they choke people out, that is not true, because there's a difference.
It takes minutes.
There's a
long time.
Yeah, there's certainly a difference between crushing a windpipe and, snapping a neck and choking. If you choke somebody until they stop breathing and stop kicking, they're not dead. They're unconscious, and there will be a moment where the body just goes back into automation of breathing, and if their airways are clear enough to breathe, they will start breathing again. There could be damage, there could certainly be brain damage, things like that.
The situation isn't good either way.
But they're definitely not dead. They're going to continue breathing and probably live.
So some advice you may not... don't use this advice, but, keep doing it for a couple minutes.
Yeah, like keep going
Afterward.
or do something extra. Like when they pass out...
Do something extra.
Stab them in the brain or the throat or the heart.
This isn't The Walking Dead. I think he just wanted to get off.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to go for an easy thing, TV has ruined it. They're like, everyone's like the headshot. You don't do that. If I had a gun or a knife and I had to kill somebody... Immediately, my first thought is go for the head. It's just way easier on everybody.
Oh, yeah. It lights out.
It's like, oh, yeah, I saw that in the zombie movies. It's like, no, that's just fucking reality.
Like, you know who else dies when you shoot him in the head?
Everything.
Fucking everything.
Trees.
Everybody.
If a tree had a head, it would die if you shot at the fucking head, okay?
Except for maybe some people later on in this story.
Well, yeah, obviously there's
We'll
bad
see.
shots and just great luck.
We shall see. But yeah, so he learned early on, really hard to suffocate people. They kept popping back up. He kept having to restart. But eventually he killed 3 members of the Otero family. And all that was left was 11-year-old Josephine.
Damn. Sorry about you, Josephine.
Okay.
If it had to happen, you probably should have went first.
Wait a minute. Her brother, Joseph Jr., was 11. She was 9. That was my bad.
9/11.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm not saying that she should have been dead, because obviously they shouldn't have died at all. But if it was going to go down, it really should have been her first. Like, that's just fucked up.
Well, let's see what happens to her. Raider took her down to the basement.
Yeah.
All the while she was begging for mercy, to be spared. Raider then hung her by a steam pipe, killing her. And Raider later claimed that her begging for her life was so sexually arousing to him that he came.
Oh.
Once she was dead, he came onto her hanging body.
He pulled the old Albert Fish, you say, huh?
Yeah. It wasn't until the Otero family's 3 older children came back from school that they discovered the heinous scene.
Yeah, that's a fucked up scene to walk into.
It's a crazy thing to witness. In October of the same year, 1974, Raider apparently hid a letter detailing the specifics of the murder inside of an engineering book in the Wichita Public Library.
Interesting choice.
Weird decision.
It makes no sense.
What idea? Great. Like, that's an idea you have? You're like, I'm just going to write about it and put it somewhere. Like, why would you do?
Somebody will pick it up eventually, By that time, you might have forgotten what happened.
Some just, like, stress-stricken engineering student who's like, I just need this degree, man. And he just has to unload that, that just has to happen to him. Today, of all days, before the big test.
It absolutely has to. There's no way around it.
Well. So that was his first murders. it was a family. That's how he started.
Yeah, that's a rough start. I mean, you think
Yeah.
like a lot of these other people, sometimes the first one is like an accident, or it's like it's a planned accident. Like they're like, I have this idea and it doesn't go to plan, but it kind of happens.
Yeah.
No. This one was like very calculated and on the money.
But he did fuck up.
Obviously,
He fucked up. He'd never done this before. But he also did shoot ropes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of successful to him.
He
wasn't caught, so I'd say this was a success. But it's his rookie status is showing.
Yeah, and looking back on it now, it's like they're big slip-ups that happened. But at the time, it really didn't matter because he got away with it for so long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really, I wouldn't even call it a fail. I'd call it a bumble. It's like
like Mr. Kemper, old bumblebutt.
yeah, he had a little bit of a misstep, but it worked. He got his balance back.
There you go. And then he just faded into the extremely average and normal facade of his life that he'd built for himself and his family. He just faded right back in.
See, and that's what I find interesting. 'Cause
Like it never happened.
the development of him is a little bit different because I'll compare him to Gacy right now for this instance. Gacy had to lie pretty much about his lifestyle as a regular Joe because
He lied about everything. Everything he said was a lie.
He knew what he was, and there was no family man, like decent dad, like, oh, I'm around here, I love you, honey.
Look, there kind of was.
But it was.
I mean, it was just more the act. It was like
Exactly.
Symbolically, he was married, and outside of that, he was a cool guy.
It was all
theoretically
a lie.
like
And
that's what he.
The difference
convinced
with
people of.
Raider is that I don't think it is a lie. I think that's like he is just as much of a normal guy as he is a complete psychopath.
Exactly, because he seamlessly went from normal guy for 29 years in the eyes of the public, right? I mean, he always had a shit.
Yeah, he had some weird tendencies.
To then systematically wiping out an entire family in their own home in the middle of the day.
Yep.
Straight back to normal life.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
And the timeline is what's wild because there's gaps in his murder resume.
Oh yeah,
we're
we're gonna go right up until the first gap happens for this episode. We got a little bit more.
Yeah, there's definitely some gappage, but that's where I think he's very different because it's almost as if he's two people, the crazy psychopath BTK and just like the normal husband to Dennis Rader.
And he like separates it perfectly.
He does. I mean, yeah, he's a weird
like
husband.
a lot
in
of
general.
other serial killers and their stories, it kind of bleeds over in both senses of the crime seeping into normal life and vice versa. But yeah,
Not him.
He was pretty good at that. He was pretty emotionally stunted, huh? Not stunted.
Evolved.
Evolved, yeah, I mean, sort of. Yeah.
He could be anything you wanted him to be, whatever you wanted that to happen.
He's a
you know,
chameleon.
that shit's he's
He
fucking
really is.
crazy.
Dude. He could have worked for the fucking CIA. He's just like the most average fucking person in the world who's very, very prone to different sorts of things.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know what I mean? Well, he faded right back. But he finally had a taste for what he'd been fantasizing about his entire life, and he wasn't about to stop. All right, it was pretty soon. His next murder was not an entire family; rather, it was a single woman named Catherine Doreen Bright.
Not Catherine.
Catherine, yeah. How do you think Catherine is spelled? Because I've never seen this spelling before.
I'm going to say Catherine with a K.
Yeah, but there's a Y in there.
Ooh, a Y instead of an I, huh?
Kathryn. Catherine Doreen Bright.
That seems, sorry for any of the hill people out there, that seems slightly hillbilly.
Hill people. I think calling them hill people may have done more damage.
You know who you are. It's not a bad thing. It's
they
just
don't have
a thing.
Wi-Fi out there.
But that sounds a little bit hillish to me.
Might be. I mean, it was Wichita, it was Kansas. You never know. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah,
everything is a mixed bag nowadays. Well, this murder took place on April 4th of 1974. This is the orange soda. So less than 3 months after he killed the Otero family.
1974.
So, much like with his first crime, Rader saw Bright just one day and decided that she would be next because he was like, you know what, I've made my decision, and that was really the only thing that made her die.
I'm going to kill you and come on you.
Pretty much. So he began following her, stalking her for an extended period of time, much like he did before with the Otero family, long enough to where he knew where she lived, her schedule, every aspect of her routine. Then, on 1974, April 5th, maybe April 4th, rather. What?
April 4th.
April 4th, yeah. Rader broke into Catherine Bright's home, this time armed with a gun. All right. He proceeded to attack her, but what he didn't expect was Catherine's brother being present. He's not very good at scouting these houses.
No, he's not. He
really isn't. He didn't
somebody.
even know the husband was there.
Whatever the male presence is in the home, Dennis Rader cannot pick up on that.
He's like doesn't even compute.
He's like, man in the home. Nah, I'm gonna go kill.
The man
this
is
broad.
me. You're thinking of me. Oh God, there's another one.
Yeah, he's a fucking moron. But well, maybe not a moron. He's new. He's learning. He's getting his wheels. He's getting okay.
Yeah. So he, the brother, that is, he proceeded to... no, wait a minute. Yeah, it was Rader. He proceeded to attack her, and he didn't expect Catherine's brother to be present. Her brother then quickly jumped to Catherine's aid, all right, in protection. Began trying to overpower Rader, who had the gun, who, shortly after the scuffle began, shot Catherine's brother in the head.
Ooh.
Shot to the head. We were just talking about that.
And you're too late.
You love a bad name.
Oh, God.
Good
no.
Lord.
Sorry, buddy.
So Rader shot her brother in the head. He then proceeded to attack Catherine again. But wait. Her brother pops back up. The bullet only grazed his skull. And he and Rader are in a struggle again. So this guy's bleeding everywhere from his head. He was just shot in the head. He's trying to save his sister. Again. Guess what fucking happens?
Someone else
He
comes
gets
in.
shot in the head again by Rader.
Stone Cold Steve
Shot in the
Austin
head
comes in.
again. And guess what? He's not dead yet. He's still not dead. The brother then hobbles out into the street. He has 2 fucking holes in his face. And he stops a passing car. The police show up 5 minutes later to investigate the gunshots. And Rader is nowhere to be found. All right?
Smart man.
All that he left at the crime scene was a man with 2 holes in his fucking head who lived, by the way. He's still alive. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. I saw a recent interview with him. He looks amazing for someone who just got shot in the face twice.
Damn, good surgeons.
Amazing. And, unfortunately, a dead Catherine Bright in her home.
Ooh.
It was in, between the second shot being fired and the police arriving, Rader, who had probably had it with the whole situation at this point, fatally stabbed Catherine in the abdomen 3 times, leaving her to quickly bleed out.
Damn, what a way to go, too, while someone's getting shot in the face and dancing around and running.
You're just getting stabbed in the abdomen.
You're just bleeding out before the cops can even show up.
Yeah, and old whole face lives. Come on.
Yeah, that's
the biggest bummer, I'd say.
That is insane. The fact that guy lived, it was just like, hold the fucking phone. I'm calling the police.
Can you imagine how much... Like, that guy is, like, truly a hero, and the only reason he's not is because it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
He did literally everything he could. He got shot in the head twice and still flagged down a car to get the police there.
Yeah, dude, this guy was all about stopping
That guy was a fucking
it.
hero, and he probably still is, but it just sucks it didn't pay off for him.
Now he's just like a really
And,
angry
a
guy.
living sister.
He doesn't trust anybody anymore. He's like,
I don't
was
trust anyone
shot.
either. No.
Yeah, no one's story could beat that guy. Like, you always meet people who are like, I've been shot before. He's like, yeah, really? I've been shot in the face fucking twice.
Can you tell? If
You're
I
like,
snort, it
no, you
sort of
haven't.
whistles.
I still got buckshot in my eyes, okay?
It's like, why should they looked at? What's interesting about this one, I think, is of his 10 victims, this was the only one he used a knife for. Because he always had the gun, That's why that's why the brother wasn't part of, like, the kill count, is because he was still alive.
Yeah, he's still around. He's not a victim.
So, like, yeah, he had a gun. He sometimes used it, but he never killed with it or a knife. It was always, like, suffocation. It was always stuff that he wanted to do to himself.
Yeah, that's the
but
sexual
then,
thing, right?
Yeah,
there.
he's got to do it to other people so he can still be alive to come. You know what I mean?
It makes sense. I mean, this dude clearly likes the sexual nature of death and murder.
He thinks there's a sexual nature to it. And I'm sure there is a sexual nature to everything, but I think he may have taken it to a bit of an extreme.
Yeah, and see, like I always kind of I understand that a little bit. In a lot of these instances that you are a murderer, guns take away that personal touch. You know.
Yeah, that's why like Son of Sam was like a bitch.
He was more of just like a
just
chaos
like,
creator.
Yeah, he was just like walk up to people sitting in their cars. He's like arm's length, and then he just runs.
There's a difference between like chaos people that are just like, they get a rush from the killing, but it's more of just like we get to do it. They're very destructive.
Yeah.
Knives are obviously a lot more up close and personal, and you're like involved in that.
Yeah.
But then anything past that, like what BTK does, where he ties, we'll get to that. Obviously, he ties you up a little bit.
Yeah, that's the binding.
Chokes you.
That's the torture because it takes a while.
Suffocates you out, stuff like that.
Killing you.
That is very personal, and for a guy that is going to get off on that, that is like right the spot that he wants it in.
Cum fuel is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's cum fuel.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
He was diving right in. He was into murder head first. This was in the first year of him starting to murder. He fucking eliminated a family and damn near eliminated half of another one.
Hey, he's going hard, dude. He's not here to play chess.
It was crazy, dude. The entire household. It was insane.
You got to see
an attempted double murder for the second one. It's crazy.
You know what's funny is like this is the other side of murdering. Okay.
Yeah.
All those extra ers.
Hey, yeah.
But this is the flip side of that. Like when he kills the family, I'm not saying it doesn't eliminate that search because obviously it does. The police are still going to be interested and try to find that. But when you single out one victim from a household, it's like not only do you have to deal with the police, but now the police have to deal with that family's outcry. When you eliminate the entire family, it's almost like it's like killing a witness.
It's like nothing happened.
It's like don't get me wrong.
Now there's just another house on the market.
The penalty is a lot more severe, but the hunt for you isn't fueled by anything outside of the actual detectives, you know?
Yeah.
And it's almost like, I don't think he intended that, but that was a great byproduct of his choice, there's less attention because the entire family's gone.
No, he fucked up in the right direction for sure with that one. But he never killed a mass group of people anymore. After this,
yeah.
Sadistic as he was, BTK was a sloppy novice his first murders. Right, he was a rookie with the dreams of the big leagues.
Realistically, I'm thinking, especially after the second encounter, the first one left a bad taste. The second one got harder. It became clear that multiple victims at one go are never going to be easy. There's always going to be problems that you can't account for.
Oh, yeah.
Joseph, was fighting with them. This guy got shot twice. It's very hard. It's a lot easier to single out an individual and be like, I'm going to just take my time with this one,
Yeah.
A family's fucking hard. You're one guy on 4 people. It's just the math isn't there.
Yeah, well, you know what? He didn't get caught for these first couple. He didn't get caught, and I think he kind of took the second. He was just like, you know what, I am gonna hang back for a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it blow over. He
was beginning to figure out exactly what he wanted out of these projects. Right?
Ooh, and he wanted.
Oh yeah, these projects. But I mean, he wouldn't return to his urges for another 3 years afterward.
That's
until
crazy.
Another 3 years in March 17th of 1977, which is where we'll continue next week.
Yeah, we will continue.
I think that was a good little opener.
Oh, absolutely.
For Mr. BT.
You know what BTK is capable of. And this is a great time to, again, kind of circle back to the breaks. You'll see in almost every true crime that isn't a spree killer or a mass shooting killer, there's typically a window of time where it doesn't continue.
A little dry spell.
Either for preparation or, whatever the reason may be for the individual.
Yeah, I think Dennis needed to recoup for a sec after.
Oh, absolutely.
After all the because he was fucking up. Like, he didn't know the guys were in the house. He didn't know that he didn't actually kill these people. He got away on a whim.
Yeah,
he did. It's insane.
He hit the jackpot twice for serial killing.
He really did, and he's going to hit a lot more.
What is interesting is that in, Ted Bundy, he's a person we haven't covered, but...
The media is so saturated with him, what are we doing but yelling into the void?
Yeah, he's around. I mean, people know that story. His window of time and crime, it never extended. It started a little bit longer, and then it would get shorter with each break until eventually there was no break.
Until that's what we call a spree.
Yeah, he went from he just kept going. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, break.
Yeah.
1, break, 1, break. It kept escalating in speed.
You go grocery shopping, right? You get your food for the week. And then on your way home, Target. You see Target. Maybe you want some new sheets. Those sheets smell so bad at home. And then you're just in Target. You start making a habit of that. Eventually, you start going to the Starbucks and Target. It's just all these errands. That's also a spree. A shopping spree. But this is just with killing families and innocent people.
It is. And see, Dennis, he's a very intriguing fish in this proverbial pond because the time, kind of like I said earlier, it's it's impossible to know. We'll never be able to get a straight answer. You can never truly understand the mind of a psychopath like that. But we could
try. He's still alive.
It's almost as if he is able to separate this part of his life, this weird, murderous desire and sexual frustration.
Yeah.
He can just put that away and just go about his life without it interrupting his day to day. Now,
right now, in this point of the story,
wasn't at home choking himself in a dress and coming.
Yeah, and he had a mask on. He was in a grave. Pictures exist.
I will say this, that, at least now, obviously, things are going to change as we continue on with the story. But at least right now, it's very unique in the sense that it's not something he seems to require. It's more just fantasy unfolding when he feels like it.
I've always wanted this.
So let's do it.
I haven't always needed this,
This is his impromptu Disney trip. You know how people do that? They're just
it's you know what? Let's just go to the airport and buy a ticket.
I've never been.
Just
go.
See where we go.
And that's
no carry on. No.
He's doing that with corpses, and it's very obviously it's a lot more sadistic than your typical murder. Even Jeffrey Dahmer, he was a fucked up guy.
He was just lonely looking for a zombie companion.
But yeah, the way he did it, it seems less brutal than this.
He was just a hopeless, enormous, drunk monster from Wisconsin.
And even Gacy, it's he did a lot of they all did fucked up shit. I'm not defending anybody.
No.
But their methods and the way things unfolded never seemed as brutal as the earliest stages of the BTK.
They were way more slipshod, to the point where it's you're watching them figure it out as they're doing it, to where it's they don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it, so it's not forgivable, but it's they're learning.
Yeah, they're playing
this guy's
the
been thinking about it since he could fucking form thoughts.
And
he's doing it.
It's dark, and it's random. And I think that's what's scarier, because
the randomness of it.
In pretty much every other true crime that we've covered up until this point in the show, there's been a target. There's been a specific type.
Yeah.
Even going back to the earliest episodes of our show when we did Louis Garavito, there was a mark. You knew what he wanted.
Yeah, 11-year-old little boys on the street.
Bob Berdella, you knew what he wanted.
He just wanted boys.
Gacy, Dahmer, you knew it. You knew what they were after.
Yeah, just a lot of boys.
With Dennis Rader, you don't know what he wants, because he'll go after anybody and everybody. You just have to not be at the right place at the right time.
Men in the face, stabbing women in the stomach, strangling children. It's insane. He's doing everything, and it's not planned.
Right.
But it is so well planned a lot of the time. It's crazy. I don't know what else to say, man. There's so much more to this story for next week.
Yeah, so get ready.
It's going to be crazy.
Enjoy this episode. If you need to re-listen to it, you'll get a lot more information in part 2 coming next Friday.
Yeah, if you re-listen to it for any reason at all, if it has to be one, make it to look up the Technology Off the Air episode.
AV95.
The opening bit, AV95 Development Team.
By Wham City Comedy.
Oh my god, it's so good. The song is so good.
But we do love you guys very much. I appreciate you listening. Part 2 will be back next week. We will be doing a Patreon episode as well.
It's true. We're going to be on there, and you should listen. There's a link below for that.
Yes, there is. And you can hang out with us. You can get a shirt, do all that fun shit. But definitely check us out. Thank you to all the fans out there. We got... YouTube has been picking up some new fans, so we appreciate you.
We read all the comments, and like we said, cult person, we're going to do cults for you, cult person.
Yes, absolutely. We were going to be doing that rather soon.
It's on the list.
But, yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week and a good start to the next week.
No, it's true.
We'll be back.
Time just keeps going. We're almost done with January. Yeah. Well, you can follow us on all the shit. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Again, Instagram is the most active. That's where you'll probably get in touch with us the most. If you're not on Patreon already, because there's a link below down there, and you can just directly message us through there. Also, there's YouTube. You should like and subscribe there. And startacult@gmail.com. You can send us just whatever you want. Talking, photos of a dog.
Talking, barking, farting.
Photos of Mitch through his window at home.
Oh,
That'd be funny.
Mitch is a moper, if you guys know what that is.
No.
He flashes blind people.
Is it true, Mitch?
He's a moper.
Mitch just woke up. He's been, like, napping this whole time.
He's a fucking moper, dude. That's what he's planning. He's going to find a blind person and just flash his fucking dick at him.
He's in the docile waking up state.
Mitch the moper.
He said yes. Well, yeah, we are starting to call this Grand Up Jake. Mitch was here sleeping.
Yes, he was.
So, goodbye. We'll see you next week, and patrons tune in on Thursday.
Yeah, buddy. Menace.